I don't know. Alright, so it's probably working okay. Cool. Gonna share this. Somebody sent me a message, so I'm gonna address this real quick. All right. So, hello, Rasin and Valor. I'm tired. I just got done with a workout. Do I have my fucking chopsticks here? You know, I actually question whether or not I do. I fucking... Yeah, there we go. Alright, they're right over here. Alright. I'm very organized. Hello, Kent. Sharing this in a few places, and then I'll be right out. Live weekly discussion stream. Hop in chat. Weird. I right clicked it and it like took 2 seconds to get like the thing in. And then the little view tweet button went away. All right, cool. I got a little bingey situation going on. All right. Feel free to LMK about that. Gonna post this in here. Gonna post this in here. Oh shit, wrong room. And then post this in here. And one more place. Here. Feel free to let me know what that Benji situation is, Valor. And then one more. I was trying to help a friend, former enemy, and give them advice when they were venting. They rejected my help. Later they vented again, and in their vent they said nobody cares for them. Is that Benji? Or are you comparing it to a Benji situation? Because yeah, that's exactly how Benji behaved. Rescind says, we cleared the garage. It's now a bigger mess than when we started. Yep. Yep, that'd be it. What's dirty? I'm trying to figure out what she's talking about. I've got somebody in chat saying, "Oh, spiders." Yeah, she's talking about my room spiders. I'm not gonna fucking remove my room spiders. I got somebody in my Discord server trying to get rid of my room spiders. I have room spiders. They keep the insect population at bay. Hello, Jester. I don't even know the kind of spiders they are, and I don't care. As long as they stay away from me, I leave them to their business, you know? See, Valor, they're in the corners and in the nooks right now. I'm not gonna go bug them. But, like, I will actively pull spiders from elsewhere in the house in order to keep my room freer of insects. And it works. I don't have any problems. I mean, they're probably somewhat athletic. My guess is that they're hunting spiders, mostly. But I know some of them got some round abdomens. I don't care, though, as long as they stay away from me. They can be any type of spider they want to be. Just got done with a workout, so I'm dealing with that. Also, I have a Telegram channel now. I fucking hate Telegram, but there's some people on there that I wanted to go directly against. So, I'm now going directly against them on there. Ah, Jester asked the question at exactly the same time. Yeah, pretty much. But he hasn't said anything all day. So, yeah, Zerkalo is a problem. He has a minor drawing porn of the minor's character and his. And the minor is expressing that after he's 18, he wants a sexual relationship with Zerkalo. And Zerkalo is defending this conceptually, saying that it's okay that a 34-year-old man is developing a post-18 relationship with a current 17-year-old. No, it's not. So, yeah, I'm on that platform now, but honestly, like, you know, I think I've made all the points I need to make with regards to that situation. I'm still gonna make them. But, like, you know, like, I'm not letting up or anything. I'm not stopping. But, like, I'm gonna use my channel for everything else as well. Like, I'm gonna share, you know, tweets there that I want boosted. I'm gonna, you know, use my account to talk to people on the platform, to invade their rooms and shit. Yeah, I've talked to the minor, and, like, multiple people are trying to get the minor help, but the minor has to want to listen. And the minor currently does not. Jester is right. She says, many have. Sadly, Zerkalo is friends with said minor's parents. It's a fucked up situation, for sure. So, this minor's trying to get with this 34-year-old man. And, already drawing porn of it. And this man is a predator, so he's not doing anything about the situation. And when other people brought it up and said, this is fucked up, Zerkalo said, and I quote, you can't interfere in a child's sexuality. Let me see if I can find the message. Because holy shit. Interfere. Alright, here we go. One, if you are a minor, I do not care what you draw. Just do not share it with adults or post it anywhere. It's for your own safety. 2, don't interfere with kids' sexuality in any way. Do not encourage, do not discourage. Move on. Do not intervene. You can do irreversible damage and create life-lasting trauma. That's what this adult said when it was found out that a child has sexual feelings for him. And then he would go on to compare himself to deadass Elvis and the Beatles and Justin Bieber. Saying that because there were chicks who were into those people as kids, it's the same thing. Not drawing clear boundaries. Kant says, the dude who was in zoophile circles, who also had a fair amount of groomers, turned out to be a groomer. Imagine my shock. Yeah, right? Yes, Zerkalo compared himself to Elvis. Let me read his second message here. That being said, because people keep putting words in my mouth that... drop my caffeine pills. That being said, because people keep putting words in my mouth that I never said, reacting in an extreme, angry, condescending, and explosive, manipulative manner toward a kid who obviously has a thing for you, which is incredibly common. Just look at Markiplier, the Beatles, Elvis, Justin Bieber, etc. Trying to find their own orientation, gender, and expression is probably the absolute worst thing you can do. To handle this situation, do what literally every PR person has done through history and smile and wave and say, wow, son, that sure is something. Keep being creative and maybe funnel that creativity toward your future in a productive way. I understand you look up to me, and I think it's important that you find your own path. End quote. I'm not going to destroy teenagers for being normal-ass teenagers. Yes, I'm so sure it's normal-ass teen stuff to be attracted to a fucking sunken chin, weird little, like, bulgy-eyed mutant. I'm very sure. And by the way, I'm talking about his persona in case YouTube wants to say that I'm, bullying or something. Definitely talking about his persona. Yeah, it's been a bad week. And if any of the adults in here want to throw some cash my way, for reasons outside his control, my biggest sponsor had to bounce. So if you decide you want to throw some cash my way, feel free. But I'm still gonna, get a bunch of work done this week. And actually get things done this week, because I didn't last week, actually content-wise, except a bunch of stuff that I haven't posted yet that I'm going to post at the same time. So, I've been working on stuff. But still need to eat. Jester says, difference is, 1, Elvis isn't shaped like a bowling pin, and 2, those guys have Telnet. Normal teenagers don't draw porn of themselves, and 34-year-old ugly-ass, bowling pin-ass, zoophile-ass, living in their parents' house-ass pedos. Yeah. Well, you said Telnet. I was reading your comment. Racine says, spoken like a true boy lover. Yeah, basically. And, like, you know, I've still been called the bad guy by so many people. I've still been called a pedophile by so many people for, like, defending LGBTQ to begin with. But I'm consistently one of the only people in circles speaking out against certain things. Funny how that works. Kant says, literally the responsible thing to do is say no. Yeah, right? That would be fucking wild if he just told the minor to stop. But no, he doesn't want to traumatize the minor by saying, don't draw porn involving me. That's not healthy, and it establishes that we aren't in a healthy relationship with good boundaries. Because he doesn't want a healthy relationship with good boundaries. He wants this kid after 18. Which is why he hasn't shut down this kid saying, hey, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. If you want that kind of relationship, seek somebody in your age bracket. Not old enough to literally be your dad. Kant says that's not how traumatization works. Yeah, accurate. Accurate. How traumatization more often works is that the child didn't have that sexuality interfered with and had experiences with an adult that lasted a lifetime. Jester says, remember when said minor started calling Leo daddy after making a comment about his father? Yeah. Because that minor learned everything about how to approach people from this adult. And this adult is exceedingly bad at approaching people, which is why this adult made rape comments toward a minor, like, years ago. When he was, like, 31-ish, I want to say. Or actually, it was much earlier. Let me see if I can find the messages. Because they're them some doozies. Scroll up a little bit here. Alright, so... yeah, so... He was saying on this forum that he will make erotic taxidermy foxes for $200. And he was also saying that each extra penis would be $30. And yes to skull fucking. And he also said, he asked the question, if I have a stuffed taxidermy fox, if I fuck it, will it be considered bestiality or necrophilia? I am serious. I want to know your guys' opinions. I don't want to make a thread because why make a thread about one question? And he also interacted with a child who's 16 and called this kid a pedo. And this kid, because this kid's into like was doing some lolly stuff, and then when this kid responded, I just wanted you to dress like a lolly once, doesn't make me a pedo. And he says, does that make me the pedo? And the kid replies, IDJAF, no, you wouldn't know I was 16 by my appearance or the way I speak, so there's no way to gauge how wrong it is. XD. But if I were to have sex with you, would I be a pedo? I don't think so. I'm close enough to the age of consent to where it's only illegal if I were to get caught. And even then, nothing would happen unless my parents pressed charges, though they would not. What if I drugged you and then snuck into the house, and that's why you have bad nightmares? This adult is very well adjusted. Holy shit. You know? Fuck, man. Like, I can't emphasize enough how not okay I am with a lot of the stuff that I've found. And this was in 2010. You know? It's been 13 years, and he still hasn't been, like, stopped being weird and sexual with minors. It's some bad shit, yo. Fucking bullshit. But I'm so sure I'm the bad guy for going against him. I'm so sure I'm the villain. I'm so sure, Sir Callow. Stop being sexual with any minors at all. Find somebody in your age range with your cognitive development who you can't just hormonally exploit. Stop being a fucking psychological train wreck. And stop bringing minors along for your ride. It's not that hard to not want to fuck kids. You know? Just stop. Stop it. Get some help. Jester says there's literally a video of Callow kissing a taxidermy fox. I didn't have a problem with that until I read the messages. You know? Because that could have just been a joke. It's not like he was fucking making out with it. You know? But like, now that he talked about, like he was trying to find out what philia it would be if he fucked it. Yeah, I kind of got issues with that. Especially since, like, a lot of his other art is about, like, killing and fucking that which is dying or dead. Hello, Cold Highway. You came at an interesting time. I'm, talking about a pedo and his bad relationship with a minor I'm trying to stop. Also, thank you for your continued support on Minds. And also for your occasional financial support. It means a lot to know that people want to share my content. It means a lot to know that it's not just, you know, me talking to myself or a delusion in my skull. Like, I can see it out there in the world. Other people give a shit. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to catch up on that whole situation, you can either just rewind a little bit in this stream, or you can, like, rewatch it later. Jester says, I personally like to draw gore sometimes, and I find how the body works interesting and beautiful, but wanting to fuck dead shit and whatever the hell else, like, what the fuck? Yeah, kind of a problem. You know, I don't have a problem with gore. You know, I don't even have a problem with, like, drawing this sort of thing. But you know what? Kinda has an implication on your character when you're not willing to tell a minor not to become sexually involved with you. When you're not willing to draw that boundary and say, don't. That's kind of bad. And it should be, like, transparently bad. Rescind says it's not what you draw, it's who you share it with. Well, even then, it's like, this minor shouldn't have these feelings for this adult, and if it's found out, which it was, the adult should say, you know, this isn't okay, I'll have a conversation with him, we'll stop this, right? But he didn't. He was just, like, doing the text equivalent of Pogger's face about it. So it's fucking disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. And I'm one of the only people going against this guy right now. And I'm certainly one of the only ones with, you know, integrity to, like, go against all sides involved in this. Rasin says, kids have all sorts of feelings. It's the adult's job to shut it down. Yeah. Yeah, and the kid who came to me with all this information, she felt bad about it. Because it's like, oh, I broke his trust. But that's exactly what you should do. You should find an adult that you trust, and you should bring this information to them so that they can handle it. So there's nothing wrong with the way she approached it, just to be absolutely clear. Kant says, I think I'm going to drop off. We'll see y'all another time. Just wanted to say hi. Well, be well. I hope you are well. Rasin says, your integrity is why I stick around. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm totally okay with calling out any kind of predator. Any kind. If they're in the LGBT and if they're not. And because of that, I know for a fact that most of them aren't. So that's why I had some of the arguments I had with you earlier on. But, like, ultimately, when I oppose them, I get people coming to me with more and more of them. More and more problems. And when I oppose any group of people, people end up coming to me with more and more problems. And so, like, I'm willing to be that source of information. But it also gets me hated by a lot of people. Because, like, I'm connecting the dots that a lot of people would rather remain unconnected. So I'm just going to be hated. I don't mind that. I would rather people be better and have more integrity. But if they were, you know, I wouldn't have that job. So, whatever. You know, 6 of 1, half a dozen of fucks or callow. But yeah, this week has been that. I've been collecting information, collecting evidence. I'm going to be making some content on that situation and more. And all of that is going to compound to create more and more content. There's going to be stuff. And I've got something exported and ready for tomorrow as well. And I also have an episode of the AgoristNexus podcast that I'm recording on the 26th for release that Friday. Ah, shit, I dropped it. I dropped it. The landlord knows that I'm a human garbage disposal, so he gives me stuff that he would otherwise throw out. And he gave me 2, like, 3-year-old racks of ribs. That I prepared the other day. I've been sort of moving through those. Well, you know, Rescind, you say sounder than mine sometimes, but, you know, you were willing to hear me out, and a lot of people aren't. So, you know, maybe don't cut yourself too short there. And I'm certainly not perfect. Holy shit, nobody should be 100% like me. Motherfucker, that'd be a bad idea. That'd be such a bad idea. So don't do that. I never want to be a personality cult. Ever. Holy shit. Having my fucking ribs, noodles, with fucking protein shake and creatine. But yeah, anything y'all want to bring up, talk about, that sort of thing? Oh, also, I'm going to post something in chat. This is my new Telegram channel. Do not join Telegram if you're not already there. It sucks. It's not a good app. It's very insecure, all that stuff. But if you're already there, you might as well. I have that now. I've been peppering these people with stuff on there. Jester says personally Zercalo and Co hate, basically. Let me see. I'm almost certain one of them latched on. Nope. Nothing right now. Valor says, a few days ago, I went to my mom's hospital. I went to go to see the Catholic chapel. It was fun, had some Orthodox iconography, and I met the chaplain. Good stuff. Getting really deeply embedded in that culture. That's what I like. If you're gonna, like, if somebody is gonna claim to be a member of a culture, and they're not gonna deeply embed themselves, they're not gonna commit, then that's when I don't respect it. So even though I'm not Eastern Orthodox like you, even though I'm not that, I'm much more respectful of you than, for instance, the Catholic hangout people. Earth Nerd, hello. Says, don't have to tell me twice not to join Telegram. Yeah, basically. Rescind says, is there a such thing as too much cabbage in vermicomposting? I'd suspect you'd know. Well, feel free, by the way, to talk to her in the server, because you are in there. So y'all could chat there as well. And she could send you resources directly. I have a Discord server. I'll post that as well. I might as well. Hello, Patriot Eek. He says, I'm on Telegram, but I never leave it open. I use it for intel for the war in Ukraine. Yeah. Well, mine is not specifically for that, but it will be partly for that. I just hate it. Telegram is an insecure app. It bills itself as end-to-end encrypted, secure, all this shit, and then they store their data centers in vulnerable countries like fucking Iran. Oh, if the volume's low, I can check my settings, because potentially, for some reason, Windows fucks with my volume sometimes. Yeah, it should be at 100%. If it's low, make sure it's... Huh. Well, I have this Telegram channel. It's going to be used for a variety of things, but right now the primary thing that it was used for was fucking going against this pedophile, and his weird pedo cult. So. Yeah. Eek says, have you seen Sound of Freedom? No, and I'm not going to. Because I'm not interested in a fictionalized interpretation of something, especially not supporting Caviezel, who has been very, very deceptive in the way that he's been promoting the movie. Did you see that thing where he made adrenochrome trend on Twitter because he was talking about it, but he didn't provide any proof? He just said, the things Ballard says he saw, and then he said, like, I didn't see it, but it's horrible, and just believe me, and my movie should get awards. This should get Academy Awards. It's Academy Awards material. He's so deceptive. He's so slimy. Every single time he does this, he's trying to bring up his acting career and how they bolted him out of Hollywood and, all this other stuff. But then, it's like, hey, I care about the children so much. Here's something extremely shallow and not at all deep. And, some conspiracy bait that doesn't reveal anything new. Buy my book. Buy my movie. Support. This deserves Academy Awards. It's so slimy. It's so slimy. It's so slimy. It sucks. So I'm not going to support that at all. Like, even if it's a great movie, I'm not going to support it. It's a fucking movie. It's a movie. It's not a documentary. It's not revealing anything anybody doesn't already know. It's like, bad things happen to children. News at 7. What? No. Like, if they're going to claim pseudo-documentarian status and then tell me that, this deserves an Academy Award. No, it doesn't. No. And if it did, you wouldn't have to say it. Fuck me, Earth Nerd says, I don't think so. It should be fine as long as there are worms. You could store it in your freezer and feed them a cabbage at a time, shred it up so it's not too bulky. Eek says, seems odd, like controlled opposition to distract from the truth almost. Some weirdness for sure. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It sucks. It sucks. And, like, the more I looked into Ballard, the more I didn't like that either. It's like, and then he had this thing like when he was giving a presentation in front of this conservative conference where he was advertising this movie, where he said that Tim Ballard was going to be there. And he said, well, Tim Ballard was supposed to be with me here, but he's down there stopping a child trafficking. No, that's not how any of this works. And also, it made me doubt whether Tim Ballard was real or not. But now I've looked into it. Yeah, he's definitely real. But he does weird bullshit that didn't work. Like, he hired somebody who claimed to be a psychic to help try to find kids, allegedly. And even assuming his intentions are good, even assuming his intentions are sound, don't do that, because psychic evidence isn't admissible in court. If you're actually going to try and help children, do it in a way that can help children. What do they do with the kids they save? Good question! It's so frustrating. And I'm the bad guy because I'm going against this thing. And anybody who goes against this thing, I've watched it happen. Anybody who goes against this thing is immediately accused of supporting the pedo agenda or child trafficking. It couldn't be that I just don't like a movie. That's literally a movie. That's literally a fictionalized interpretation of what is allegedly reality. It's a movie. And not supporting your fucking movie means I support child trafficking? Yeah, I guess all my years going against pedos is fucking bullshit because I don't want to watch a movie. What? Because I don't support this guy and his like, oh, I deserve an Academy Award. Give me an award. Validate me. No. That's slimy as fuck. Fuck, I hate it so much. Fucking slimy. So yeah, it gives me bad vibes, yo. It gives me real bad vibes. Eek says, what's weird though is how the system and agents of it and the rest of the people will conveniently ignore the past when it is not in their favor. Yeah. Yeah, but That's the whole thing. You know, if these people wanted to make a movie about busting the associates of Epstein, that might be fun and interesting. If they wanted to make a documentary about what Tim Ballard did, showing concrete proof that he helps kids get the sound of freedom or whatever, you know, that'd be one thing. This isn't truth. This is fiction. And I'm supposed to think that this is just as good as truth. It's so disingenuous. It sucks so much. I hate it. So, yeah, that's my take on Sound of Freedom. I think it's one of those things where, because I know a lot about how opportunists have operated in the circles of, like, stopping child predators, I know for a fact that I'm not just going to support anyone who claims to be one, like one of these hunters, rolling along. I need more than that. I need so much fucking more than that. Like, Eek, for instance. You know, like, all this stuff against LGBT people lately. Where, like, even supporting these people against abject lies will get you called a pedophile. Like, I have somebody I blocked on Facebook because he was calling me a pedophile with no evidence. Because I support LGBT people. And that's the place, those are the levels on which we lie. That's where we are. You know? Where you can't oppose liars without being called a groomer. You know? It sucks. And I blocked him on Facebook, and I can see in other people's comments sections he's still talking shit. Like, I am not sorry for going against these people. And you know me very well. You know me, and the fact that I have basically been blackballed from a lot of libertarian circles for rightly opposing the pedophiles within them. So, for these people to suddenly jump out of the woodwork and call me a groomer, a pedo, all this shit, because I don't support their bigoted bullshit, that's what I gotta say. Ugh! Eek says, like twisting it around so we're on a trial instead, completely ignoring the people we're fighting and all the horrible shit they've done. Yeah! Hey, I've been in court on the stand accused of shit I've not even remotely ever done, and the judge let it happen and all. There's no justice in the courts at all. Absolutely! Earth Nerd says Ballard was in person of interest, which I enjoyed. Very much a warning for what we're headed toward. Okay. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of fiction in this regard. Racine says, I watched a cop lie on the stand. Yeah. Courts are bad news. Corrupt as fuck. 100%. Jester says, Grr, this person called out someone I like. He must be a pedo. Yeah, basically. Eek says, Rescind, I was in court last week. The judge lied. Confirmed her bias. She ignored my ex lying. My ex failing on the spot during a drug test. And my ex admitting to a felony crime. Judge ignored it all. Literally everything she did was ignored. I was the one being attacked by everyone in the room, from the judge to my own attorney. I'm not surprised. Not remotely surprised. Racine says, family court is a scourge. That it is. So yeah, like, I oppose grooming. I oppose child sex trafficking. You know where the primary child sex trafficking comes from? Motherfucking foster care. You know where this movie wants you to think it comes from? Brown people. The U.S. foster care industry is absolutely rife with pedophiles, like fucking sex traffickers, other sorts of predators. Just it's an industry where you literally get other people's kids. So it's not a surprise. And then it statistically, it outweighs schools. It outweighs churches. And then people don't talk about it because admitting that the problem exists in America in largely Republican-controlled areas and government blah blah would go against your thing of like, hey, America, these commies, this damn other culture, that's bad. But mine is great and A-okay. It sucks, dude. Anyway. Oh, also, thank you for the constant support, and it's totally fine that it's got to stop. Eek says, it's such a racket, my ex can bring me back to court over and over forever with no end. And each time she does, her slate is wiped clean. You cannot even discuss the horrible shit she did in the past. The judge will literally set limits on the time period. That's always the threat, too. The quiet threat by the courts. You better do what we keep telling you, or we'll take your children from both parents. Because we got a foster care system. Our foster care system is great. Meanwhile, the foster care system is practically just trafficking. Racine says, and you get to pay for it. Oh, we can dig into foster care. Do you have a child with her? Yeah, 2, if I remember correctly. 3. Okay. Jeremiah, did you mean me? No, I meant Eek. He's dealing with some shit right now is the reason. I just wanted to publicly thank him because he publicly has been one of my biggest supporters for years. He's supported me in one form or another for a long time. I can't even remember the first thing, but like, he used to be one of the reasons that I could pay rent on a monthly basis. So that should tell you everything. Eek says, I'm fucked money-wise. I won't last 6 months now. Yeah, well, you know, have you considered running a public fundraiser? Just a question. If you told your story, if you told, like, if you had all your facts just laid out there, or at least, you know, what your lawyer, you know, is comfortable revealing, and you said, hey, I need help. This court system is bullshit, and I need to, you know, fight this shit. I'm pretty sure I could get you support. I'm a part of a lot of networks, man. Jester and Racine says women get off easy in court. Sometimes. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's hard. For instance, and you know, I'm on good terms with my father now, for the most part, but it wasn't always that way. And literally, we had to go to a counselor he approved of, so that they could intermediate and make sure that this was really our choice to give our mother full custody. He chose a church counselor who already knew him and was biased toward him. And so it was like pulling teeth to get this church counselor to admit that beating us wasn't okay. That shaking my sister until she froze and became nonverbal for hours wasn't okay. Because churches are enablers of child abuse on quite a few occasions. And the courts thought this intermediation was fine. And really, like, put up a fight before my mother did get, like, full official custody. So I'm not saying that they always prefer men, and I'm not saying they always prefer women. But what I will say is that they don't always prefer women. There are exceptions. Well, if you set up that fundraiser, I'll share the link around for sure. We can see if we can get this this amplified, and maybe some coverage as well, because like ultimately, what's happening to you is probably something that could, you know, be reversed if the judge had some pressure put on her. Oh, unless you were talking about prayer, in which case, yeah, I mean, also that. Valor says, I pray for you, Eek. IDK if you're religious or not, but I pray for you. Jester says, that's the only reason my dad hasn't divorced my mom. Yeah, understandable. Eek says, I've sold everything liquid, going to start selling ammo. Well, before you do all that, think of what you could potentially say in a fundraiser. We could potentially get you what you need. Racine says women do get off easy in court. The courts have reamed so many men. But she also said, what a nightmare about my story. Jester says it probably depends on the area. Yeah. And the judge and all this other stuff. Like, I'm not going to say that, like, my personal experience, like, having looked into this, isn't that, like, the preponderance of cases are of men getting the shit end of the stick. Aren't of men getting the shit end of the stick. But sometimes that's not the case. I'm not going to say it's always the case, is all I'm saying. Eek says, judge ordered the children into counseling. I get counseling for free from work. My ex refused to accept it. Free and online, or thousands a year and in person. Now Amicus, children's attorney. Pics. I'm going to file a complaint against the judge for sure. In chambers with my children, the judge said she lost her daughter in a divorce and fought for years to get her back. She kept telling them, you will find the grace to forgive your mother? Ooh, yeah, that sounds familiar. That sounds familiar, but the other way. Eek says, Racine says the problem is, Eek, that it's another fight, and fighting drains so much resources and energy. Get your kids straightened out first. Definitely do a fundraiser. Yep. I will help spread that fundraiser, for sure. Like, talk to your lawyer, get as much, like, information on what you can divulge, and then, you know, divulge what you can, and I'll get that fundraiser shared around. Eek says, she then came out from talking to the children, ignoring what they wanted, to live with me, and she lied and said the children told her they wanted to spend more time with mom. Utter bullshit. They never said that. Yeah. Not surprised. But yeah, let's get this story out there. Let's get your fundraiser out there. Let's see what we can do. Jester says, what the fuck, the judge shouldn't have a job. Yeah, basically. A lot of judges are corrupt, you know? And a lot of courts are corrupt, and a lot of systems affiliated with the courts are corrupt. You know? But yeah. This is why I you know, I'm not gonna support Sound of Freedom or anything like it. It's just like, let's make wildly sensational, fictionalized versions of stuff. Nah, I'm good. Real world people need our help. I don't like a rib knuckle. Rasin says, I'm in Orange County, California. Our courts and law enforcement are a mess and have been for years. Yep. Yeah, it was a California court. It's like the entire state is on drugs, even the courts. Eek says, my daughter found a huge bag of mixed and unmarked pills in my ex's house. She's stealing meds from her nursing job. I'm worried she's selling the meds, so my children are at huge risk. Courts don't care. Yep. Rasin says you need support and people on your side. That you do. But yeah, get that set up. I'll spread the link around. He says she's a psychopath narcissist using the children as weapons and doesn't give a fuck about them. Oh, also, so this Telegram room is going to be used for a variety of things. But one of the things it's going to be used for is directly talking to other rooms. So if there's a Telegram channel or a room you want me to take down or talk about or something like that, you can send me links to that. Because there's so much corruption on Telegram, and I just didn't have an account, so I haven't been talking much about it. Eek says she asked them if she should give up her parental rights, and they all immediately said yes. Jester says based kids. Either way, on different news, what do y'all want to talk about? Oh, shit. And some things that y'all might want me to talk about, I might make into full videos. Jester says, your situation sounds similar to what's going on in my family. Me, my siblings, and my dad want my mother out of our lives. Venetian blood cult to get back to the pedo thing. I can look into this. Do you have a link? You can shoot it to me in Signal. So, I mean, with that, if there's nothing people are going to want to talk about, I can call it in a few minutes. Okay, you sent me it. A moment. Rusin says, I wanted to learn more about ancient religions, but I haven't found much. I'd love to know more. Eek says there's a meme going around. Did you think it would be easy to defeat a 6,000-year-old death cult? Weird. It's not opening a private window. Come on. Maybe it is going to open a private... Oh, it just opened all at once. All right. That's great. Jester says, my mother is completely nuts. She's tried to burn the house down multiple times, made a hole in the wall with my sister's head, and has just abused us for years. Eek says, my ex punched and kicked me. Fake punched me to the face all the time. Faked verbally me shoving her. Threatened to abort my son. Threatened to sexually abuse my daughter and blame me. She is sick. I'm putting this URL in here. Yeah, I don't know anything about this, so I would have to research it more before talking about it. Because I don't want to say something that I later find out to be untrue. Especially since, like, there's a lot of stuff here that's, like, here, but there's no citation for it. So, I would definitely need to look into this before talking about it. It's interesting looking, though, for sure. Yeah. Well, I'll look into that. I'm not gonna, like, not talk about it. Eek says, IDK for sure, but I know the people at the top are pedos and a blood cult. Yep. Jester says, it's life. I got the good end of the stick. She recently left because my dad bought me a dog. She took the ashes of my childhood dog / best friend of 17 years with her to hurt me. It hurt more than anything else she's done to me. Yeah. Eek says, hell's empty and the devils are here. Eek says, she purposefully took the dog I wanted to keep. Kept my cat. Yeah, I've seen pictures of you with that cat, if I remember correctly. But if y'all want to support Jester, She does safe for work furry commissions, so feel free to hit her up. She did the fursona that's used in my Discord and my Telegram presence. Oh, okay. All right. I didn't see the message that E sent, but she sent me a link to Person of Interest, and apparently Jim Caviezel plays the lead actor in that. Well, if that's the case, I he said he was blackballed from Hollywood for fucking Passion of the Christ. That's not the case if he was one of the lead roles in a fucking primetime like TV show. He wasn't blackballed. He's been there. Nobody kicked him out. He was there for 5 years. So when he complained that he was blackballed from Hollywood, where? You know, I'm starting to doubt that claim too. I didn't look into that because I wanted to make I didn't care. I wanted to do other things. But he was in something in 2023. He was in something in 2019, 2018, 2017, 2011 to 2016, 2014, 2013. He's been in stuff. What the fuck is he talking about? They have a separate publication on IMDb, I guess, for the Passion of the Christ deleted scenes. The Passion of the Christ, even Jesus here. Oh, by the way, I'm a paid voice actor now. So if y'all want me in your project and you want a voice that sounds like this or a variety of other voices, hit me up. I can make your fucking thing sound the way you want it to. Jester says, I'm not going to let my mother back in our house. She wants to take our cat, Zeus. Yeah. Eek says, pets are just like children to them. Just tools to use to get their way and attack those they hate. And Jester says, Rasin says, you're a tough cookie. You sound like you have a good head on your shoulders. Jester says, thank you. My dad made sure I turned out right. He's a good man. He was absent for half my life due to us being poor and having to work all the time. Since 7th grade, he's been making up for lost time. Eek, your ex is literally a woman from hell. I hope she's out of you and your family's lives as soon as possible. I'll share around any fundraiser and promote it too. See, you got folks. You got folks. Yeah, like, he was in the same amount of... Jim Caviezel was in the same amount of stuff, the same frequency of stuff, prior to the Passion of the Christ that he was after the Passion of the Christ, in terms of years and in terms of coming out and stuff. It's like directly the same amount. So he just lied about being in... He just lied about not being in stuff. He lied about Hollywood blackballing him. What the fuck? He just lied, and people believed it. Okay, I mean, alright, if Hollywood did blackball him, it must be because he's insufferable like this all the fucking time. Man, that's... He's such a fucking... He's such a fucking weasel. Oh, he's such a weasel. Oh, he's such a weasel. Weasel. What the fuck? Oh, he's Weasel Caviezel. Yeah, that's his new nickname.
I didn't even try that. Oh, he sucks. Fuck. Man. And right-wingers will eat anything up. This man is going to make millions. Fuck. That is so unrefreshing. Oh, that makes me hate. You ever just get this face where it's just like, I knew it was going to happen. I knew that this thing was how it was, but it's just like, come on, really? Man, you know, my disappointment sinks to new depths on such a routine basis at this point. Fuck! Anyway, Eek says, I have a hard time believing the lightning story. I don't know what you're talking about. Jester says, the world is a kinder place than we know. God provides, and if you don't believe in God, good people will come together to help. Eek says, the world longs for heroes, so they don't have to do anything hard or dangerous themselves. Yeah. Rasin says, you're ridiculously wise. You've learned a lot in 17 years. I have a son who's 25. Young people like you give me hope. No offense, Valor. JK, your faith is laudable. Jester says, people always say we need more people like XYZ, when in reality we need to be like those people. Yep. You know, I quote this so much, but it's always true. So I'm going to do it again and be obnoxious with this, but nothing more, you know? Everybody wants to change the world, but one thing's clear. No one ever wants to change themselves. That's the way things are. All because we hate the buzzkill. Jaded when we need to feel, but we can change it all if you really want it. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks that this is what gets play. It sucks that this is like that conservatives can just weaponize the child exploitation issue to go after LGBT people or to sell fucking movies or to sell anything. Anything. Just we buy our beer. We're not siding with those trans people. Those people. Those Bud Lights. Them, Buy our beer. Get drunk on our fucking beer instead. Instead of being clean and sober, get drunk with us. Because we're bigots just like you. And we hate child predators. Allegedly. Except when it comes time to, like, stop the ones in our circles. In which case, don't talk about those people. You're helping the enemy. Etc, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck. Eek says, I'm going to contact OMG about the elephant in the room, family court, and the bias against men. That's up to you. They might help. They might not. Rasin says, wasn't it Marge Simpson who said, maybe one person can change the world, but probably shouldn't? I mean, with some people, that's definitely the case. But with some people, they should definitely change things. Things need to change, for sure. Oh, and by the way, is it having buffering issues for y'all? Let me know. Jester says Valor and I are actually part of the same religion, part of Orthodoxy. So is my father. I also learned a lot from my church. Yeah, it's buffering the playback on my end, so I thought it might be for a little. Rasin says, oh yes, I remember you guys just talking about your shared religion. Yep. Yeah, and feel free, y'all. Feel free to talk in my server more. Like, if y'all want community, that's what I want that place to be. I want it to have a sense of real community. Like, where people can talk about shit and, like, actually hash shit out. Like, I want to win. I want these scumbags taken down. That's what I want. You know, I don't need any rewards. I don't need any awards. I wouldn't mind the ability to pay rent, so any adults who aren't struggling right now, who want to throw some money into a large pit, there's going to be some stuff this week that I think will make it worth it for y'all. But basically, um, you know, I'm not here for like massive adulation. I'm here because shit needs to get done. So the fact that so many people hate me while I'm trying to get shit done, fine by me. Either way, I'll be calling it about 14 minutes, so get in your comments and questions here. Jester Kitty says, when my grandmother died, our church members came to help, despite her being a different religion, despite being in another town. I think no one cares for me, yet I still get letters from old ladies. Well, you got community. You've got community. And Jester, on the off chance that you want to join the more intense server, I'll put it that way, that link that I sent earlier is for a different Discord server than the one you're in. What do you think is going to happen to USA? I think it's going to. I'm hoping it breaks up. Eek says. I mean, I think the USA is currently pitting people against each other, so that they can be like, so that they can come together later. Um, you know, under whatever rally around the flag happens. I think that there's going to be more terror events like 9/11. That's what I think, and I think that sucks. You know, they found out that they can trauma bond with people. The whole thing, it's like an exercise in trauma conditioning. Jester says, they remind me I'm cared for. I'm gay, but my friends still accept me. We're all sinners walking a similar path. Despite what's different, what matters most. Racine says there are good people everywhere. I think it's important for congregations to support each other. That's true Christianity. I think you should talk to the old ladies. You might love each other. Jester says, but I more so hope that it's not intentional, but when it matters, we can come together. Eek says, if that's the case, it'll be way worse than 9/11. Yes, it will. Buckle up. That's what they're planning. Cold Highway says they might try a false flag and blame Mexico in order to invade it. Yeah, because you saw my video about fentanyl and how that directly links into their current resource crisis. It's so fucking neat. The package is so fucking compact. You don't need anything else to make that package work. And then people don't believe me. I'm an insane conspiracy theorist. Yeah, sure. Fuck you. I'm very stable. I'm the most psychologically stable person on the planet. I'm done with all of this. Because, like, there's so many fakes. There are so many frauds. There's so much garbage that you have to sift through to get through anything. To get to any truth. I guess somebody's watching right now. Somebody with a somebody with initials just threw me $5. Well, thank you. I guess I'll throw my fucking links in the chat. Guess I might as well. Got rent coming up anyway, so that's what they want me to do. Person who sent this. And there is going to be more content coming. So, thank you. Thanks deeply. I didn't see that earlier. It was sent like 8 minutes ago, so if you're still here, hello. T.I.? I'm not sure I know any T.I. That's interesting. Sure. Alright, well, those are my only links, whoever you are. That I can think of right now, anyway. So, anyway. Cold Highway says, AMLO, Mexican president, recently nationalized lithium, while the U.S. lost on 2 lithium-rich countries, Afghanistan and Bolivia. So the USG would use drugs as a way to get Mexican lithium. Yeah, and not only Mexican lithium, but the U.S. is having resource conflicts with fucking China right now. So they need chips. There's a chip shortage. What has chippable materials? South America and Mexico. It sucks so much because, finally, there's something, there, you know? Finally, there's like, something on the border that they could potentially use to say that, hey, this threat is on our doorstep. I mean, it's not, and also, fuck you, but, you know, they can claim it. Ah, thanks for Sind. I will definitely use that well. Probably on vitamins, to be honest. I need to restock on calcium, magnesium, and zinc. And, so all these fucking resource conflicts are happening right around the same time the U.S. is like, fentanyl! We've got a border crisis! Ooh, we've got to keep all these titles and keep the border locked down tighter than Satan's asshole! We've got a border crisis! My God, look at this border crisis! Mexico is infiltrating our country with drugs and drug gangs! You know? No, you want fucking shit. And you're doing the same thing you did with Pinochet. You know? You're doing the same thing you're doing with Pinochet. Rescind says, you look skinny. You're eating as much as you need /want, right? I mean, not /want, no. But, I'm eating food. I had some on this stream. Eek says, no vitamins and get Redmond salt instead for the same. Redmond salt doesn't have as much calcium, magnesium, and zinc as the pills I take. Those are all about, supplement clusters. And they're also good for testosterone, which is the primary reason. Jester says, I like that Jeremiah is able to listen to both sides and call out his friends. It's something people gotta do. Well, good to hear. And Rescind says, that's what I like about him, too. Jester says, I was a Dan bootlicker and Jeremy called me out for being an idiot. I wouldn't say idiot. You were a kid. Like, I'm not gonna call a kid stupid for believing something that somebody who should be trustable told them. Like, a bunch of people in this community trusted her. And I'm not gonna knock you for um, trusting somebody people were supposed to trust. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't remotely beat yourself up over that. That is not your fault. The people whose fault it is are the adults who wanted me to not ask questions, who didn't like the fact that I was questioning Dan. And I believe what Racine says with me too is that I disagreed with her on a few things and pointed out where I said, where I thought there was room for improvement. I don't think she even knew about Dan at the time. Jester says, Dan told me we were close and pretended to care. Yeah, and that's what this is. The community, a lot of people in these communities will pretend that because it's a community, you can't question it. You know, you're helping Zerkalo. You're helping the anti-trans people. I will call out Zerkalo. I will call out the transphobic bigots, and I'll call out trans people when I think they fuck up. Which is what you're supposed to do. Eek says video quality just dropped, all blurry now. Odd. Sometimes it'll do that because YouTube is simultaneously processing this file to make it HD, and it's on a DVR system. So if you have your settings set to auto, it might occasionally dip in terms of in terms of quality, and you might have to set your settings off auto. I'm curious as to whether there's like a fucking extension for that. Like on Facebook, you can get an extension to make it automatically display all comments instead of most recent, because the most or like instead of the most relevant is what I was saying, because the most relevant thing, they will like show the comments that got liked the most and shit. Jester says, I was kind of like Els, but for Dan. Yeah, Dan will do that. And like all these adults, that's the thing. Like even some of the minors I went against did the same thing because they were learning it from the older people in their lives. Like fucking Jane. She was a prime example. And the reason I knew about Dan was because she was a mod in Jane's server at the time. She was also a mod on Zoophile Strugs. So it's like, she was a mod in Jane's server, and she was using her high numbers and positioning to fucking weaponize this shit against people. And do all this shit that I talked about. Like, she lied about that minor being a xenophobe when that minor was just questioning her about xenogenderism. And, when your wiki says that your gender is above human understanding, yeah, you're gonna get questioned. Because that's fucking dumb. You're a human, it's not above human understanding. You just don't want to fully explain it. Or it's not something that stands to scrutiny when you want to explain it. So, don't tell me that it's above human understanding. No, it's not. If you can't explain it, don't expect other people to believe it and, like, go along with it. You're not an Oreo gender. And if you can't explain why you are one, I'm not going to call you Ori self. You know? It's shit like that. So when this minor questioned like xenogender in front of Dan, Dan sent the zoophile account after this kid, the anti-zoophile account after this kid, which should be used for anti-zoophile activism against this kid. And this kid got bullied and harassed by thousands of people until he wanted to die, until he was thinking of making it happen. And Dan encourages suicide too. So I went to bat for this kid, and then this kid lied. She lied that I was grooming this kid because I went to bat for him. And the reason I knew about her to begin with was because she was in this server run by somebody who was actively scamming kids and adults out of money, falsely claiming transphobia, falsely claiming that her parents were transphobic, and using that as a way to get McDonald's money, Uber money, new headphones, Nintendo store credit, fucking subscriptions, fake swords, maid dresses, all sorts of shit. And it was all, somehow she had the money for that while she was telling these people, please give me money, please give me money, give me money, please. I need to escape my transphobic household. No, you don't. If you did, you wouldn't be buying useless shit. You would be selling whatever isn't nailed to the fucking floor and fleeing. And then, I called her out for this, and I called her out for so fucking much. And I was hated in that community. They tried to dox me. They threatened my family with explosives. They did so much. And and then years later, Dan is upset with me for bullying this minor who was 17 and eventually turned 18 plus. And immediately as soon as she was 18, started having weird sexual relationship with like 14 and 15-year-old kids, including BDSM stuff. So hey, she turned out to be a groomer too. So I opposed a scammer who turned out to be also a groomer. And because of that, I bullied. Because Dan wanted to make me out to be the bad guy. And because if she can accuse me of being a bully instead of like acknowledging the fact that every response I had to Jane was totally reasonable, she can get her audience weaponized against me, which by that time was much fucking bigger. It's hilariously vapid. It's hugely opportunistic. It's fucked. I'm exhausted. I've been exhausted for years. But to answer your question, yeah, I am eating as much as I need. I mean, I could always use more, but like, I'm eating. Absolutely. I'm just tired. Also, I've been working out a shit ton more, so maybe that has something to do with it in terms of appearance. Like, I got that trapezial set going here. I got that like back. I got this this bicep coming in. So, I'm not ashamed of my body, but I mean, I could always use more gains if people want to throw money down a large hole. I'm just tired. I'm tired of saying the right thing, telling the truth, and still being mass attacked by thousands of people. It wears on the psyche a little bit. You know? All right. Eek says, any of you gamers and want to play Life is Feudal? I play it to meditate, etc. At some point, potentially. Right now, I'm currently finishing Biomutant in Cyberpunk 2077. And there are a few other things that I already have before I get anything else started. But at some point, very likely. Kindred, definitely, though. Kindred and Eek, you're both in the same server if you want to connect and play Life is Feudal together. You're both in the Xe chamber. Jester says, I use Facebook to keep up with family and rat rescues. God, I love animal rescues. I want to be a vet when I'm older and help animals get a second chance. Eek says, MMO, very calming, meditation, then combat mixed in for total adrenaline rush. Jester says, God, people who get upset when you ask for an explanation of weird shit piss me off. Yeah, and you've seen it like so many times now. Like, I'll be completely fine. I'll be completely reasonable. And these people will act like I'm being some sort of fucking tyrant. Like, shut the fuck up. If you can't disprove me, just shut the fuck up. That's all I ask. If you actually have legitimate criticism, proof, that's one thing. If not, shut the fuck up. That's what I ask. Jester says, what's it about? Is it kind of like Animal Crossing or Stardew? Eek says, medieval open world sandbox, full terraforming, building fortifications. Yeah. Jester says, Dan told my friend to kill himself because he told her to stop treating me badly. Do you have screenshots of that? I'd be interested. I'm interested in anything like that. Anything people are willing to throw at me for that, because I'm going to be making anti-Dan content soon. Like real formal, real tightly edited anti-Dan content. Be prepared. Rasin says, I don't know how I'd handle a public mobbing, and I have a little perspective and age. Oi. It's not fun. It's not fun. I've had so many night terrors of terrible things happening to my family. And just the other week, I got threatened with doxing yet again. These, people do not care that they might be hurting somebody's family. They do not care that they might be hurting, somebody who just bought the house after my family moves or I move. They don't care about anybody but their stupid little fucking self-serving egos. That's it. And shutting up people who might be interfering with their pedophilia or their hustle or their fucking terrible bullshit, their scam. It's such transparent grasping bullshit. You know? That's one of the reasons I'm glad I live in Spokane. I can just tell you, I live in Spokane, motherfuckers. Come and find me. You know? Jester says, if someone identifies as Oreo gender, can they get copyright striked? That'd be that'd be a fucking hilarious court trial. All right, I'll let it slide for that because I want to see that court trial. I think that'd be a hilarious court trial. That'd be so fucking hilarious. That'd be a hilarious court trial. Just pit all the ridiculousness against each other. Rasin says, you look fine, just leaner. Fine in quotes. Jester says, no good deed goes unpunished. Fighting is exhausting, Rasin says. Yeah, basically. Oh, Kindred says, I don't have the game, I'm just depressed. That sounds like a meme. You should make that meme. Eek says the best therapy is talking and being around genuine friends. Yep. Jester says it was in a VC, but I have a screening of her admitting to it. Ah, definitely throw that my way if your friend's comfortable. I'm still sorry about King. He agreed to back off after a lot of convincing. I mean, this is part of the reason, like, 15-year-olds shouldn't be involved in any of this stuff. You know, he shouldn't have been involved in Zerkalo's circles. He shouldn't have been involved in these things, this stuff. You know, they don't have the proper levels of restraint and understanding at that age. It's also why Zerkalo should stop trying to be in a relationship with a 17-year-old. Just to make sure I'm even-keeled on all sides here. Earth Nerd says, no, it has to be a cookie business or dessert business. Well, I think you could still get, like, fined for having, like, iconography or trying to profit off of it in some way. I think if you just call yourself that, nobody's going to say anything. But it would be funny if they tried. Jester says, he never should have been involved. Sadly, I couldn't meet him before it happened. Either way, I'm going to be calling it in about 80 seconds. So, if y'all got something else you want to say, feel free. There's going to be a lot of content this week, though. I'm getting a lot done. And this week, I'm not just going to say it. Because I got a lot of this stuff that I needed to do with regards to this Zerkalo situation hammered out. And I'm pretty confident in my ability to really ramp things up, especially since I need massive amounts more income by September when I'm going to be moving to a more expensive house. So I'm going to try really hard to actually earn that from y'all. The new place is going to basically double my expenses, but it's also going to like exponentially magnify my ability to make content. So Eek says, good night, friends. Even a little light beats the darkness. Yeah, I'm glad we had talked today. And also, feel free to start that fundraiser. We'll get that started for you. Rasin says, glad I caught the stream. Eek, start a fundraiser. I'll chip. Have a great week. Alright. Well, that sounds like we're signaling the end. Be well, all. Smash the fucking state.